From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida. Coming up on today's show, Renegade Express. Man, a lot of you have taken advantage of this $1 membership at warchant.com. There's like 36 questions, Corey. It's going to be a long one, but we'll probably split it up. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in Tallahassee, Florida, our presenting sponsor. Check them out this weekend. 85 South Legends. Live music over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Great food, great music, great people. Check them out. cptallybar.com is a website. There's also a QR code everywhere you see our podcast. Pull out the phone, camera app it, boom, hit the barcode, QR code, takes you right to the website. Our website, again, warchant.com. The special is still going, the launch special. We don't know for how much longer. We were told 1 week, so I don't know. We're getting close to a week. Take advantage of it, like the 36 people on this thread that have asked us questions. It's only $1, warchant.com. Hop over, front page, boom. Or, you could do $1 for 4 months, right, Corey? They could do $1 for 4 months, but they could also do $1 for 12 months. So
I'm going to go ahead and suggest doing the 12-monther, but do whatever you want, man, whatever you feel like. If you want to just roll the dice and just try it out for 4 months, that doesn't make any sense at all because you get this, you get the next 8 months for free, no matter what. But hey, man, just sign up for 4 months. It's fine. I would suggest going for the whole year, though. That's just me. That's just me out there.
And if you could hit the thumbs up if you're still listening to us on YouTube, or a 5-star rating and review on Apple, Google, whatever. You know how it all goes down. Do that. So we'll be back at practice on Thursday morning, as well as Friday, right, Corey? I think.
I won't be there Friday, but okay. You guys will. And then they have a closed scrimmage on Saturday.
And then a 9:45 p.m. Zoom, so that'll be fun. We should all get drunk for that one.
Oh, it's a night scrimmage then.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay,
pretty sure.
Cool,
yeah.
man. Under the lights. Probably getting ready for Duquesne, right? Probably starting around 5, getting them used to that type of weather.
Yeah. All right, no funny business. Let's get to it. I mean, literally, there's like 32 replies to this thing as we start the program. 37. I lied. Check it out. It's JT Noles 2K2, now known as Noleboy02. I changed my name. Anyways, this new place is pretty sweet, guys. Wake up. He still has the same avatar, so I know it's him. All right, my question for the week are, 1, who do you think will return kicks until Winston Rat returns? And 2, what is your favorite piece of FSU memorabilia? JT Knowles 2K2, who's now Noleboy02, says, for the first question, Noleboy02, I think Deuce Spann will be one of the returners. I'm not sure about who the others will be, but what I've heard about Deuce's speed, I feel like he could be a Michael Ray Garvin-esque type returner who can outrun anyone if he gets a lane. I don't know about that. He's fast, but Michael Ray Garvin was semi-world-class speed.
Yeah, he was an All-American in track, and I think went to the U.S. Olympic trials. Might have made a relay team, but yeah, you're talking about he was one of the faster sprinters in the country. Deuce Spann's one of the fastest players on a football team. There's a little bit difference in speed, but it is elite speed, especially for that size.
Hard to say. Benson's been back there. McCall, Azarie Thomas I've seen back there returning kicks. I think Trayshawn Ward or Toafili, one of the others.
I would suggest at least the first game. I would go with Deuce Spann, and I wouldn't mind Benson being out there. Okay. And that was the thing. Me and Jeff were talking about that on Tuesday, watching the practice. He's like, I don't know if I'd put Benson out there. He's going to be one of your primary running backs. I'm like, man, that's what Jimbo did. Oh, and he also talked about Azarie Thomas. Like, maybe if that guy's going to be as good as we think, he shouldn't be returning kicks. I'm like, man, Derwin James and Jalen Ramsey return kicks.
I'm cool with Azarie. I don't know about Benson. I feel like you have to have a little maybe more shiftiness and top end speed. I like his one cut ability.
He's got top end speed. I think he's the fastest running back they have. I don't know about his in a kickoff. And he's not shifty like Peter Warwick. But on kickoff returns, you don't need to be, right. You just see a hole and hit it. Like, you're not going to be breaking down and shaking people down.
Fair.
So. Vanover never returned punts. He just returned kicks because of that straight ahead speed, 1 foot and go, 1 foot in the ground and go. I'm trying to think, man.
That's not that we just thought about it. We gave him good answers right there, man. What's
You
your
think
favorite?
so? Like I can't, because Corbin did it last year some, Pokey did it some. Like I would give. Well, how many kickoffs are they going to get against Duquesne? You're hoping only one,
Yeah.
two or three at the most. But I would give a couple guys maybe a chance back there.
Yeah, they'll
a couple
rotate
different
these guys.
groupings.
All right. What's your favorite piece of FSU memorabilia, Corey? Mine would be the montage I made after Pasadena. There's like a photo before with the Rose Bowl, the iconic Rose Bowl script on the outside of the stadium with me and my buddy out front with big smiles. And then there's a photo of me and Mercedes Mike and his dad with a celebration going on behind us. There's that the score plate they give you outside the stadium after the game's over with the number screen printed on there.
They still do that?
Yeah, well, at least they did it for that game.
Well, that was 10 years ago. Yeah, I wonder if they still do that. I don't think that company's been making the rounds to Tallahassee much lately.
Yeah, and then also
Maybe they're more in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, then I also got the cover, like a specific cover made of, like, not the actual magazine, but they make like covers on high glossy print. Sports Illustrated does that you can order. So I ordered the cover with Kelvin Benjamin on the front with Florida Statement or something like that, I think is the headline. So it still hasn't been hung up in my house that I've been in for over a year because I don't know how I want to have my office looking, but that's my favorite piece of FSU memorabilia.
I don't know that I have one. I know I have. My dad had a one of those long, like angular rectangle shaped pictures of Doak.
Oh, like the
at night.
panoramic,
the panoramic stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've hung that up, and it might be at my sister's. Like I was just looking around. I don't have anything hanging up. So I don't know that I have. I mean, the coolest things I have, I think, are like the Sports Illustrated with Peter Warwick on the cover and stuff. But I don't have it hung up. It's just in my study, I guess you'd say, in a box.
Real quick on the panorama, true story. They were doing those at the BCS national title games for 5-6 years running, but then for some reason they did not do it in Pasadena, which
Of course they did.
Totally angered me because I was going to order that so I could see myself, but nonetheless. I did pre-read this one. This is a fun one, Corey. Buckle up. H. Lambo, y'all seem to embrace this NIL valuation that the website puts out. I think it's detrimental to college football. These valuation numbers seem like a guesstimate. I don't think athletes and boosters and broadcast are broadcasting these numbers. The players may look up their names and see what this site says they should be getting. If they aren't, you're creating a lot of disgruntled players. This may affect their play on the field, whether intentional or not. Pissed off players aren't going to play as well. These players may also affect the locker room. Gene, you and your staff seem a bit short-sighted. You're potentially hurting the team that you're supposedly supporting. Is this all about the Bucks supporting this NIL crap this side is pushing, not owning up to your part in the Mims fiasco, and now this, you will have lost a chunk of respect in my eyes. Sorry to have to say that. I've always liked you guys.
Oh, well, there you go. It's nice that he finished it that way.
Yeah, strong finish. I don't know how you want us to pay for our sins on the Mims thing. I think we owned up to it. On the podcast, we addressed it. Go look it up. I get it. You're upset that it didn't work out. We told you that was going to happen, and it didn't happen. You're a fan, and you're upset about it. I understand. I apologize for that pain. But, yeah, I don't like NIL. I don't want these guys to get paid all these insane amount of money, but it's just something that we have on this website that's kind of cool. I think the recruiting stuff overall, the database, the amount of information that's in that is maybe a better thing to sell. But yeah, man, I don't like NIL. I don't. I'm sorry. If you want to sign an autograph, sign a jersey, payments, things like that, absolutely cool. But what's basically going on, I don't embrace. But it's happening.
It's also a reality.
Yeah.
It's like we also have the transfer portal rankings database, like the rankings. As I've said now for 2 years, a recruiting class should be graded on what it gets in the transfer portal too. Yeah. And I feel like those are easier to grade. They have those now. They have transfer portal rankings. Do I think that players should be able to just willy-nilly transfer to one place, and now the NCAA is acting like they'll be able to transfer multiple times with no penalty? Like that's the next thing that's on the table. Do I think that's good for college football? Absolutely not. Do I think recruits that have done not a darn thing in college football and may never do anything should ink 6, I guess maybe sometimes 7-figure deals before they step foot on campus or step foot on a football field? No. Nope. You're not listening to two guys that are like, very, very excited about where the direction of this sport is going, but it is where this sport is. So you can say that it's detrimental. Do you not think that football players on the current Florida State team want NIL money and are asking for NIL money and are getting deals I mean, that's the reality. It just is. I mean, we could just put 100% scholarship, 100% scholarship. No, but that's not college football anymore. They're not paid in just scholarships. So we got to kind of adapt. And as we go with that, and that's an on-3 thing. Obviously, it's not Warchant. Warchant didn't come up with the on-3 NIL database projections, but it is something that is a part of college football. Maybe we'll see for how much longer, but for right now, it is part of college football. And that's a reality. NFL players know what the quarterback's making. The backup right guard knows what the quarterback's making. I don't know that means he's not going to play hard. I feel like he's going to play hard to try to get his own money. I don't know.
Well said.
I don't think it has nearly a big impact. A database I'm talking about, not NIL. NIL has changed the game maybe forever. But a database on a website I don't think has nearly the impact that you might think it has, and I guess that's me not taking ownership of it.
Samurai Knoll, wake up. Greetings, gentlemen, from the land of the rising sun. It's been a minute. Life as an expat has made our family very busy the last several months. Recruiting news has been exciting of late, but I do have a question and a concern that keeps me up at night like the boogeyman that could be hiding under my bed. If somehow Florida State gets stuck in, quote, the bad part of town, to keep in harmony with this gated community nonsense, at what point do we realistically start becoming concerned about the stability of our quality 23-24 class recruits? How likely are we to lose our coaching gems like Alex Atkins? I mean, the pitch to a 4 or 5-star player and a quality coach will hit a lot different if FSU is relegated to a second tier afterthought conference. Are my concerns justified? Thank you. Drink some DeLuna coffee on my behalf. I don't think they ship to Japan. Brandon. I think Brandon's given us super chats in yen before, so thanks, Brandon.
I do too. And I wonder, so we don't think Ed ships to Japan?
I don't know. We'll check. I'll see. He's got an import-export guy,
Yeah. I wonder if what the cost effectiveness is on shipping to Japan, if it's worth it or not, worth the squeeze. But if he could make it over in Japan, are you kidding me now? There's a lot of people over there, Aslan. Didn't know if you knew that.
Big country, small land, but lots of people. Lots of people.
I guess like they're already there. Like they're already not in a gated community. I don't think. I guess what I would say is like right now for the foreseeable future, the next 2-3 years, this is the reality. I would think, right? Like I don't think there's going to be any seismic shift where somebody's joining a conference. Even Texas and Oklahoma aren't going till 2026, right?
Yes.
Or 2020.
25. I don't know if it's up in 24 and then they go to the SEC in 25, but I'll look it up.
It's still a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
So I would think when it comes to like, I thought he was going to say like long term. This seems more like a short term question since he's talking about 2023 and 2024 recruiting classes.
They'll join in 25. Sorry, go ahead.
So they're up against it as it is. Like I don't think anything changes if they haven't joined a conference in 2024 or 25. I mean, it's tough. You got to start. I would love to answer this question, though, and I know this isn't the question that was asked. I want to see what it looks like if they can win games. Like, how much of the recruiting problems that they've had, quote unquote, not getting a quarterback, is because of this, them being in the not gated community of the SEC, or just because they've had 4 straight losing seasons.
Yeah.
Like I want to see what Florida State can do in the ACC, even with all the pitfalls that this conference has, what it can do if it gets to 8 or 9 wins again. Then we'll know for sure, I think, what the impact is of not being in those conferences right now. But let's see that first.
Man, really, 8-9 wins, that's what we're hearing. It's like if they can go out there and have an 8-9 win season, then these recruits are going to start not tripping over themselves to come here, but then we're going to start maybe seeing some more higher quality ranked guys. Although, again, they got, Lucas Simmons, Rod Kearney, some real solid guys. But like the whole Brock Glenn thing, when Chris Parson decommitted, it seemed like Brock Glenn out of Tennessee was going to be the heir apparent. And then he ends up going to Ohio State because they kind of make a late push. And it's like, well, yeah, how can you compete right now? I mean, unless you're Alabama.
But I don't
or
think
Georgia,
that's a money thing, right?
No. I don't think that's a gated community. Brock Glenn didn't go to Ohio State because Florida State's going to play Wake Forest and Duke. He's going to Ohio State because Ryan Day is going to put him in the NFL.
Well, and Ohio State's one of the 5 best programs in the country right now.
He's got really good receivers to throw to now and moving forward, and the conference stuff. And hey, I know we don't like NIL, but again, even if you're in a second-tier conference. If you still have people that are passionate about the team that are willing to put money up to help get players to your campus, that's probably an important thing too. But, yes, I do want to go to a new conference. And I don't know when we'll see. Again, to Corey's point, I don't think the ACC is pulling us down in recruits' eyes. It's what we've been doing on the field. So
correct.
Let's get
just look, man. They were getting really good recruiting classes 8 years ago when the SEC was, this behemoth back then, and the Big Ten was making more. Now it wasn't as vast as it is now, but they were still behind the eight ball in that sense 8 years ago, and they still got Derwin James. They were still getting Dalvin Cooks of the world. You got to win, and you got to prove that you can get guys to the NFL. And then if you still can't get players, well, then, yeah, maybe that could be a reason to worry about long-term about not being in a gated. Well, everybody's worried about that anyway.
All right. I think it's Salinas or Salinas. Salinas Knoll 831. Wake up, gents. Ben here from Salinas, California, or Salinas.
I would say Salinas. That sounds more California-y than Salinas.
I think there's something in Kansas that's, I don't know. Anyhow. Thanks, Ben. Welcome, man. What's up? He says he's home. That city in California is home to the great John Steinbeck. Grapes of Wrath? Is that Steinbeck?
Yeah. Mice and Men?
Okay, good. Look at you, always one-upping me. All right, it's only about 20 miles from Pebble Beach as well. Question, do you boys think the big Coop, that would be Robert Cooper, or any other defensive lineman will be good enough to demand a double team against opposing teams, causing our linebackers to get freed up a little bit more and the ability to make big-time plays? Also, do you think we're being underestimated by teams that we may just punch them in the mouth and get some extra W's? Only like Clemson. I think Clemson might be the only team that would underestimate us. I don't think Miami would. I don't think Florida would. I don't think LSU is. I don't know how many teams.
Maybe NC State, because they beat them pretty solidly in 2020, and then had a whatever.
Dave Dorn won't do that. Now, Dave Dorn's lunch pail, blue collar. He wouldn't let his guys get arrogant like that.
Good point.
So on that one, I think everybody's, the spear still means something. It is Florida State coming to play you, so I don't think people are going to roll over for us. And if they do, that's not a good sign of where we're at in the season. First part of the question, though, Corey, would Robert Cooper, Fabian Lovett, will they be demanding double teams? Will that help linebackers make more big plays, or will it be that, or will it be the linebackers just being more skilled, more higher football IQ, being able to diagnose things that will maybe help free up them making bigger plays?
I think Lovett and Cooper are both good enough. Maybe Lovett especially to necessitate a double team. He's going to be tough to block one-on-one. Unless you got like an all-conference guard that can handle him, or an all-conference center, depending on where he's lined up. I figure they're going to be getting one of them will probably be getting double teamed on every play, right? There's 5 blockers for 4 dudes. It's usually a guard and a center doing the double teaming. So I would say one of them will be getting doubled on every play. I would think that would be more Lovett than Cooper, but I don't know. But yes, I think both of them are good enough. They proved it at times last year. They've proven it already through 7 practices that they're a handful, those two. The question is anybody else on the roster double teamable?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who are they double team worthy? That's what hasn't been proven yet.
Yeah, Josh Farmer, Malcolm Ray, those kind of guys.
Or even like a Verse or a McClendon, and not double team as like a guard and a tackle, but a tackle and a tight end, or a chip with a running back. Like, are they going to have to do stuff to take away Briggs too, take away defensive ends, and try to handle them? Because Jermaine Johnson got a lot of attention as this year went on last year.
Still produced too.
He sure did.
Knox Knoll 04. Hey, Aslan and Corey. Josh here. You know me from my Twitter as FSU alum 04. My picture is of me and my wife Amy. I'm holding a 6-foot spear, showing off our DeLuna coffee. Yeah, man. Hayslip. Josh Hayslip, I think. Didn't mean to blow
you're
up
just
your
giving
entire-
away. You're blowing his spot.
Yeah, and he's in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm going to go with...
What's his address? Do you have his address, his phone number you can give out too?
Our most popular local is WWE superstar Kane, a.k.a. Glenn Jacobs. He's also the mayor right now in their county. He's up for re-election. I will be voting for him again. So there you know. There you go.
Wait, so is Kane still a wrestler?
No.
Oh,
I guess
okay.
Former
Okay.
superstar. He grew up in Pensacola.
That'd be cool if he was a wrestler and a mayor.
Yeah, like if Jesse Ventura would have been able to pull off the governorship and still dropped elbows.
How
on
about
people.
how about our man? Speaking of old Warchant alums, DC Reeves is running for Pensacola mayor.
That's right.
And I think that's later this month. Maybe they have that mayoral election, or maybe it's, I don't know. I thought it was like later this month or maybe in September. So how about that? If he wins that, we can. I guess we can. He'll give us keys to the city anytime we're in Pensacola.
Kickback slush funds. Can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's not insinuate that DC's on the take or anything.
He's a
I'm
pure
just saying
man. Pure man. Honest.
He'd hook us up
on the level. All right, Josh says he grew up in Pensacola. I'm from the Cantonment area. Went to Tate High School. My picks for our famous people would be fellow Aggies, Jay Bell, Travis Fryman, who played together on the 84 high school national title team, as well as Don Sutton, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Also, Graham Gano, Clay Ingram. Ingram is currently the chief legislative affairs officer at FSU and a former state representative. He was a long snapper who carried Bobby off the field after the 99 win and on the front page of the Democrat. And, Roy Jones Jr. and Emmitt Smith.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All that.
School's got a few.
All that out of the way, I'm new to Warchant as a member, but I've been listening to you guys for a long time. Love all that you do. Never miss a show. Would you guys agree that firing Mike Norvell at the end of the season or even at the end of next season is a horrible idea? No. Hitting the reset button is just not what is needed. Look at Tennessee for the past 20 years. That is where FSU is headed if they can Norvell before 2025. All the people wanting Norvell's head must not be able to see the progress made since the decline of 2016. Also, the great recruiting class he started for 24 would be gone. Firing him is a horrible idea. What do you think? Love you guys. Thanks for all the great entertainment and information you provide.
I think we just have to contextualize it a little bit. Like right now, if you said, yeah, he's on the hot seat, I'd be like, well, yeah, that's pretty dumb. But ask me if he goes 3-9.
Well, he's
I'll
not
be like,
going to
no.
go 3-9.
Well, I don't think so. But, I mean, we don't know. I certainly didn't think he was going to lose to Jacksonville State either or beat North Carolina. So it's hard to know if this program isn't any better in 2 years. It's a hard sell, man. Like if you're still meandering 4 years in at 6-6 in the ACC Atlantic, if you're not separating yourself from the Wake Forest and the Boston Colleges and the Syracuses and Louisvilles of the world when you've had 4 years and you're in Florida, yeah, man, I think that would be a problem. I think I get it. He is putting together a nice 2024 class, but I don't foresee him like say he goes 6-6 in 2024, but somehow he has the number one class in the country. Yeah, then that matters. But if he goes 6-6 and or 5-7, whatever, and they have the number 21 class or some number, no, sorry. I mean, he doesn't get in perpetuity just because you don't want to be Tennessee. Like you're always one grade higher away from getting to where you want to go, but it does reset it, and that's the disadvantage of doing it. But it would certainly be on the table. I don't know that you could say for sure that it's horrible, just because we don't know what Florida State will look like at the end of the 2023 season. And if they're still 6-6, they still don't have a quarterback that they trust. They don't have a great quarterback. The offense is still middling. It might be time to at least think about it.
When you get the delicious Zaxby's Chicken Finger Plate, one sauce is just never enough. But don't worry, because we have 12 dippable flavor-packed sauces to go with every hand-breaded chicken finger we bite. Select one from our 12 sauce options. Endless sauce abilities, only at Zaxby's.
And don't forget to listen in for the Zaxby's indescribably good Player of the Week every Monday on Wake Up Warchant.
All right, moving along. Don_Rugans. Transposing the R and the D on Ron Dugans. I see what you did there. Aslan Corey. Wake up! I've been a listener since episode 1 and just want to thank you for the amazing content. By the way, I am Seth from Fort Myers, home of the one and only Primetime.
Yep.
Do you really think he's been around since episode 1? I'm not calling you a liar, Seth, but I'm dubious. So you waited this whole time? What's $1? You can't turn that down. I appreciate that.
I was going to say, it's hard. We can't spend other people's money.
That's right.
You're
right.
But
You're right.
we appreciate that you're here now. We appreciate that you're here now, man. We do. He might have been. Why would you doubt him?
I mean, because those shows were rough, man. I mean, we sound like we were talking through a tin can. Like, I didn't know how to use
Didn't we used to do it in the studio?
Some of them, but then like you would be home in Georgia, and then I would be at the studio in Tallahassee, like the where JCS would operate out of, the former ESPN studio, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was by myself. The audio levels were terrible.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really liked Jimbo then too. So.
Well, you sure did. But that was before we'd seen Willie in action, right?
That's
so
right.
we were there was an excitement, there was an optimism.
Yeah.
Then Virginia Tech happened.
I think you mentioned this, Corey, and Seth brings this up, a.k.a. Don_Rugans. This is more of an observation than a question, but here it is. Seth, recently visited the College Football Hall of Fame Museum, which is in Atlanta, right? Downtown Atlanta, Corey?
Yep.
I noticed that Warwick Dunn is not there. He's absent. But C.J. Spiller is in. Just seems wrong to me, but hey, what do I know? Also, Chris Winkie not being in is also odd. Anyways, wake up and go Noles. Is that true? I think that's true. I think you mentioned that. I think you've said that before, that you mentioned a couple players not being in there, and you're like, C.J. Spiller is. Like, what? What did he do?
There's no. Well, he was fine. He was a really good player. I think he was an all-ACC, an all-American guy. He certainly has a right to be in the Hall of Fame eventually. It's just odd that he would be in before Warwick Dunn, when I think he played in college, I don't know, 12 years after Warwick, 15 years after Warwick Dunn. Like, why is he already in and Warwick Dunn isn't? There doesn't seem to be really any rhyme or reason as to when they put these guys in. It's just bizarre. Like, Florida State should, like in 2050, will Florida State have 45 guys in there? Because they should, but I don't know. They might only have like 13 or 15. It's like they try to space them out with the schools and. Okay, which is the most glaring omission that we have to put in there now? And then, okay, Marvin Jones isn't in? Okay, well, let's get him in, and then we'll keep going down the line. Like, I wonder, can you look up their College Hall of Fame inductees, Aslan?
I mean, what do you mean? Like, who, the Clemson's or like the...
No, Florida State's.
Let me get on it, yeah.
Like, I wonder, like, if Marvin was the last one, are they working themselves through the 90s? Because Marvin's last year was 92. So have they just not made it to 93 yet? Or I assume Charlie's in there, though. And Peter Warwick, is Peter Warwick not in yet?
That's a good
question.
Like,
maybe they're just working their way. For some schools, they're working it slower than others. I don't know.
All right, there we go. So I can do it by university. Florida State University, submit. This is a very cumbersome site. Sellers, Bolitnikoff. So Sellers in 88, Bolitnikoff 91. We went 15 years without anybody. Charlie Ward, 2006.
Okay, so they're 93.
The coach that won a whole bunch of games in 2006 as well.
Okay.
Ron Simmons, 2008.
So then we go back to 80, 1980-ish.
Dion in 2011.
85, or 88. I'll say when their last years. So 88.
D. Brooks, 16.
He would have been 94.
Doug Buckley in 19.
Doug Buckley?
Douglas Terrell Buckley.
Is that his? I didn't know his first name was Doug.
I had no idea his name was Douglas, but yeah.
Man, Terrell is a much cooler name, man,
D-Buck.
than Doug. D-Buck, yeah. That's crazy. I didn't know that. And Buckley was 91 was his last year. So, yeah, no, there's no rhyme or reason. And now they got another and then Marvin's in there now too. I'm almost positive. This might be his year.
Yeah, I don't think he's been enshrined yet.
Yeah, Marvin's 92. So yeah, man, they don't have Peter Warwick yet or Warwick Dunn. When's Jameis going to get in? Rashad Green, Kelvin maybe. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how it works. It's a long time to tell you and always tell you we have no idea how the admission works for the College Football Hall of Fame.
I mean, Spiller, unanimous first team All-American, ACC MVP. I mean, they weren't that good in 2009. He finished his career with 7,588 all-purpose yards, which is still the ACC record.
Yeah, man, he was good. 700. He was a pretty solid player, CJ.
I don't know, but that team wasn't. I mean, I don't know. I get it, but it's not like Warwick Dunn was. I mean, golly, dude, Warwick Dunn averaged 7.5 yards per carry as a freshman, 6.8 as a sophomore, 7.5 as a junior, 6.2 his senior year, 37 touchdowns. I mean, he averaged 6.9 yards per carry. Had nearly 4,000 rushing yards, 1,300 yards. I mean, I don't know. What do I know? Good call, Seth.
What do you know?
Let's storm the College Football Hall of Fame. Jengalang, wake up. I'm super excited about D-Rob joining the team on game days so I can have anyone other than the watered-down commentary we usually hear. Can you go into a tad more detail about how that's going to go down? I'm guessing due to the game rights, there won't be a picture-in-picture showing him in the broadcast, correct? Yes, that is correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
What you'll see, and I assume it's still on the Warchant TV site on YouTube, right? What Gene and Tom did for the spring game?
Yes.
So we did a test run in the spring game with just Gene and Tom. I shouldn't say just Gene and Tom. That was too dismissive. With Gene and Tom, they're good enough on their own, right, Aslan?
Absolutely.
They're
The post-game
worth the
show
price
still,
of admission.
post-game show going down with those two guys.
So what you'll see is you'll see them on the screen, and they'll be watching the game. So it'll be so it starts with you, and are you the first half or Tom?
I'll be the first half.
Yeah, so it'll start with Aslan, and why am I answering it, Aslan? You're
I don't
actually
know
a part of
because you
it.
like talking all the time.
That was weird. That's
Corey.
my fault. Go
I'm
ahead.
Sorry, I love you, Corey. If you didn't talk, the show would be 13 minutes every single time. So, yeah. So due to the fact that we have what we're going to be calling Warchant Game Day, presented by our good friends at Zaxby's, there will be a pregame show with Jeff and Tom, which has been going on for years. They do 2 hours before home games, 1 hour on the road games. So to kind of give Tom a little bit of a break, he'll be doing the pregame show with Jeff. I will do the first half of the watch through. So basically, Corey said, it's basically going to be Dominic and I on the screen. Put it on your phone, put it on your tablet next to your television that's got the actual game on. And then the second half, I'll go to Doak so I can do post-game stuff, do the Warchant wrap, film that with Ira and Corey. So then Tom takes over with the second half, and then that rolls right into the post-game show with he and Gene. So, basically it's a companion sort of piece of broadcast content, if you will, for your game day experience. So when the game's on, put us on your laptop or your tablet or your secondary device, and then have the game on. And then you'll see in real time Dominic and Tom and myself reacting to things. But yeah, it'll be Dominic and I first half, Tom and Dom, D-Rob in the second half.
Tom and Dom. Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about like how would I watch it if I wasn't at the game, because I'm very interested in it. I think what I would do personally is I'd have it either my iPad on my lap or my computer on my lap, and I would have headphones in to listen to you guys and watch you guys, but also be obviously the TV. I'm watching the game on the TV, and I don't want to mute it completely because I want to hear the ambient noises. I want to hear the crowd. I want to hear the fight song, the war chant, all that stuff. I don't want to just miss all that because it's muted. So I think I'd have it low on the TV, but still on. So you can't maybe hear exactly what they're saying, and you got the headphones in to hear what D-Rob is talking about.
As a technical question, I assume if I'm streaming both his feed and the game feed from the same internet source, they should sync up, no delay. I don't think that's going to be the case. There's going to be some form of delay, so you'll either have to maybe hit pause, like the first quarter, the first play, kind of let it sync up. You'll be able to figure it out.
Are you guys doing Duquesne?
I would think so, yeah, why not? That would be a good sort of dress rehearsal for LSU.
I was going to say that's a perfect dress rehearsal to get through it.
No offense to the Dukes. I mean, they're going to bring a lot of eyeballs onto the screen.
Sure,
so,
absolutely.
We'll treat it like the national title game, all of us.
I just want to make sure you guys will be doing Duquesne to try to make if there are any kinks. And also it gives, because, man, people are going to be dialed into the LSU game. Like it's not going to be a casual watch. People are going to be like, very invested in that game. So that's when you wouldn't want to have. We wouldn't want to have any hiccups, or you're behind by 30 seconds, or you're somehow ahead. So yeah, I feel like we got to get all that figured out. Or you guys need to get it all figured out. I'll just be doing my own thing in the press box, Aslan.
Yeah, I mean, because it's all going to differ. If you're watching us on cable, if you're watching us on Sling, if you're watching us on YouTube TV, it's going to obviously be a little bit different than everyone's delay is going to be a little bit different. So you'll kind of have to tune it in and figure out, like, after maybe the first play, like, oh, wow, like Aslan and Dominic are like 10 seconds behind. Well, hit pause on your television, count to 10, and then hit play, and then, we'll hopefully have caught up to that point. So
well, and also, I think you could get a nice rhythm where maybe it's okay that you're 5 seconds behind.
Yeah.
You see the play, and then you want to see what their reaction to the play is, and then there's, usually 25, 30 seconds in between plays where you guys can talk about what just happened as the next play is going.
Jay Spiz, wake up! Football finally here. It's Spiz from Prattville, Alabama. What up, Spiz? I've moved around a lot, but my wife tells me that my hometown is now Prattville, Alabama, since I have lived here for the most years of any others. So the famous people from Prattville would be Crimson Tide, New Orleans Saints great Roman Harper, and the great Justin Shanks, member of the 2013 FSU national football team.
Right. That's
Shout
true.
out.
Maybe the biggest member of that team.
Large human being. So my question is, can we win 8 games with Jordan Travis at quarterback? Yes.
Getting right to it. Yeah.
I'm trying to be optimistic, but we have seen this kid play for the last 3 years, and I'm not sure. But then I know the offensive line's better, so hopefully he will be able to sit in that pocket with some confidence and sling the ball around. I know he's an elite runner, but can we win 8 games without him being a better passer? I drove to Clemson last year and really thought we could win that game. Then Clemson took the run away, and the game was over. Travis couldn't do anything versus them. What's going to change this year? Give me y'all's thoughts. This is the best dollar I've spent in months.
I would hope ever. I feel like it might be the best dollar people are spending in their entire lives.
I mean, especially when you adjust for inflation.
Yeah,
you used to be able to get a candy bar and a pop, but,
coffee used to cost $1, right? Now it's like $6.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Yeah, I don't know. Only DeLuna for me. In DeLuna, you get great deals.
Absolutely.
So don't let me.
Warchant 15. 15%.
Yeah, I'm not disparaging DeLuna. They get you great coffee for a great price.
He says, "See y'all in New Orleans. Go Noles. Let's turn some heads this year." So Corey, 8 wins. Jordan Travis without him being a better passer. Possible.
What do you think I'm going to say to that, Aslan?
Yeah.
But what's my reasoning?
Well, because it's sound reasoning. Everything else around him is better. Maybe I think running backs will be just as good. I don't think it'll be a step back. I mean, I know a lot of people like Jay Sean Corbin. I don't dislike Jay Sean Corbin. I don't think maybe I value him as highly as most other people. But he's got better receivers, a much better offensive line. So by virtue of that, having a better supporting cast, he should be able to have more success.
If he would have played and started every game last year, how many wins would they have had?
I mean, at least 6. I mean, I'd say 6. 7 if you want to be. I know that's not being overly optimistic, but I want to twist your wrist on 7. Maybe if he doesn't go out against Florida, maybe they don't fall into an early hole and they can hold on and win that game. But Jacksonville State, they probably win that game.
I think they win Jacksonville State by 3 touchdowns.
But also, hey,
they can run the ball.
If Keyshawn Helton doesn't drop the ball, maybe McKenzie can win.
Hey, get
too.
off Keyshawn. Why do you got to bring up old stuff?
You're right. I love Keyshawn.
So no, I think last year, NC State, they were right in that game and they scored 2 touchdowns. I just feel like they'd have scored more with Jordan Travis. I think Jordan Travis was better for that offense last year, and Louisville didn't play either. So maybe they win one of those games. Because the defense actually, the whole second half against Louisville and for a large chunk of the second half against NC State played very, very well. So there's a chance they win those games. If he play, like Aslan said, if he plays against Florida the whole time, I think they win that game. You can't really say that for sure, but I think they do. And then, they did lose to Clemson. So, but anyway, the point being, he was close to an 8-win quarterback last year. Not that they were close to winning 8 games. But the way he played the final 2 months of the season when he was the starter, he started the last 7 games he started, they were 5-2. And it wasn't like it was that easy a schedule. They had, 4 road games at Florida, at Clemson, at Carolina, and at Boston College. He went 2-2 and wasn't all that unclose to going 4-0. And then he beat Miami at home. So I just think that he showed that he can be a winning quarterback. He is not going to be a great quarterback. And the passing game is still probably going to be, at best, average. But you can win games with an average passing game. You can't win championships anymore, I don't think, with an average passing game. But you can win games. And I think that's what he would do if he's healthy. If you tell me right now he's going to start and play, he's going to start all 12 games and play the majority of all of them and not suffer any really bad injuries or sicknesses, I think they're an 8-win team.
Okay. Fair. Absolutely.
And he does it, well, let's hope, you got to knock on wood here, he doesn't make game-changing mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, he just doesn't, or he didn't last year, right? I don't know. I think he went 100 and something passes without an interception. Now, we talked about yesterday, there's a fine line between
he doesn't
turn
the ball over, but does he? I feel like he missed some things towards the end of the Clemson game that might have been able to keep them from bad situations.
Sure, absolutely. Now, that was a great defense, and he didn't have, with that offensive line and those receivers, he had to lob it up to Kelvin Benjamin. So he was in a tough situation, and he did not play well. But not many quarterbacks did against that defense. Better quarterbacks than Jordan Travis didn't play well against that defense either. So anyway, I just think the answer is yes, they can win 8 games. I don't think they're challenging for a championship, but I think this year, 2022, if you can keep him healthy, he's your best chance to have at least a decent offense because of just what his presence on the field means. But no, they are not. He is not Pat Mahomes. He is not Tom Brady. He is not going to be riddling defenses for 350 yards through the air. It's just not what he does. But he might total 300 yards all-purpose, like he did against Florida, like he did against Boston College, and you can win games that way.
Let's go to Dane_Owen. What's up, dudes? Love the new digs. Thanks, Dane. Thanks for coming over. He was on the old network, so thanks for making over.
Thank you, Dane.
If Deuce, Span, or someone else emerges as a viable receiver, what do we think about trying Johnny Wilson at tight end? His body type is similar to the tight end huge receivers that we see today, like Kyle Pitts, who's listed at 6'6", 245, and he's at least a great pass blocker. I don't see why he couldn't be a solid run blocker. Seems to me he could be a huge weapon in the middle of the field and a security blanket for Jordan, at least someone that's able to turn and post up at the first down sticks. I get that he's not consistent yet, but isn't his ceiling much higher than Cam's? Mike has always had great tight ends, and we're still waiting on one, and I don't see any coming anytime soon in recruiting. Even if Span or someone else does not emerge, isn't it better to have a potentially dangerous tight end and 2 potentially dangerous receivers as opposed to 3 potentially dangerous receivers? I feel like I screwed that all up. Sorry, Dane. Yeah, what do you think? What am I missing here, he asks. Thanks and go, Noles. Johnny Wilson, tight end.
I think it's more of an alignment thing. Like, he can play sort of a tight end role. Like, he can be slotted. He can be close to the line of scrimmage. And run those typical tight end routes in the middle of the field, seam routes, crosses in the middle of the field, get beyond the first down marker. I think you can use him as that. But man, he's a good blocker, but he's a good blocker on the perimeter against 5'10", 185-pound corners. You're not asking him to block defensive ends now like that. Him against Dennis Briggs would, I feel like Briggs would pick him up and throw him away.
Nah, come on, man. You see Jason Turntine's out there, and he's doing all right, but he's not like throwing other guys off of him, And
he's the tackle is what I'm saying. Like, Johnny Wilson's a wide receiver. He's not used to mixing it up with defensive linemen. Yeah. That's just a lot to ask this far into a guy's career. But the run part of it, I think he can be like he can play a tight end type role. Like, in my opinion, if it's 3rd and 6, or you have 2 or 3 other wide receivers that you really like and nobody steps out. I mean, I'd rather Johnny Wilson run a route on 3rd and 8 than Jackson West. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't think you can put him on the line of scrimmage because I just think he would get exposed. That's a tough ask for a wide receiver to then, he's a big kid for a wide receiver, but he'd get pushed around by Verse and Briggs and those guys. They just would. They're just stronger than him. So that's a tough thing to ask him to pass block or really to run block. But I think he can definitely give you something tight endish in the passing game.
Yeah, he's also doing all right out wide too. So why?
Yeah, I thought he had a good day on Tuesday.
Yeah. C_Swizzle, wake up! Same name, different picture. This is correct. It looks like lacrosse. He's got like lacrosse helmets. It looks like as his avatar. I love everything you guys do. Thank you so much for all the content you provide. I remember joining Warchant in 2018 after finding the Wake Up Warchant podcast. My obsession with FSU athletics has since continued to grow.
Nice.
Look at that.
Nice. It's good to hear. It's good to hear. Hopefully you'll get to watch some good football this year.
Hopefully. That being said, however, I happened to watch the ACC road trip episode for FSU on ACC Network, and I wanted to bring up Micah Pittman and our punt return unit. They had him mic'd up while he was catching punts during practice, and he was talking, responding to the reporters, all while tracking down a punt and successfully catching it. I didn't know they were doing that. Really?
I didn't either.
What is this, All-Star Game baseball?
Yeah,
Come
really?
on.
What are we doing, Mike?
I thought it was pretty impressive, and it made me have confidence in our ability to do it during the season. Well, hopefully he won't be talking to reporters. But, yeah, he's going to field punts cleanly, C-Swizzle. In y'all's opinion, how many points extra per game can be attributed to a good special teams unit if instead of letting the ball roll, Corey, we actually catch it and return it for an average of 8 yards? That's like
points
plus
per
20.
game.
That's like plus 20 gain right there. You're losing like 12 yards when it bounces and rolls, it feels like. So
it's a first down and a half at least.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think strong special teams overall, I think you could put it, I don't know, 2 or 3 points. I don't know. It's kind of hard to quantify, but I would think 2 or 3 points extra a game. I think, maybe if you – I'm sure there were plays last year where a special teams play set up a touchdown. I just don't remember any of them. I really don't. And I'm not talking about just running it back for a touchdown. That would be great. But just setting it up, like taking a ball that instead of letting it bounce at the 38 and it rolls down to your 20, you catch it on a dead run and get to their 49. And then two first downs later, you at least kick a field goal because you're in field goal range now, which you wouldn't have been if you got 2 first downs from your own 20. You got a punt. So I think in that instance, I think you could, if good special teams should be, I don't know, man, 40 points more for the season.
Okay.
So what's that be? That's like a little more than 3 points a game. I think you could average, if you have strong punt returners that are aggressive and catch the ball, and kick returners that get outside their own 20, get you an extra first down there. I think that would add, and maybe run one back, maybe block a punt, block a kick. So keep other field goals off the board. I think you could. Maybe that's the. I wonder if coaches think like that. We're trying to get 40 extra points. That's our goal this year.
Well, how about this? If you look at it, they averaged a shade over 20 yards on kickoffs last year. Their opposition averaged a shade over 26. Yeah. And then on punts, Florida State averaged 4.18 yards per punt return. Their opposition, 8.8 yards. So, I mean, right there, 6 and 4. So you're like
that's
a 10,
first down.
Yeah, you're a 10-yard, deficit right there. So, I mean, swing that in your favor. That probably helps you out in at least one game or so. But, yeah, I mean, that's –
You can have game-changing plays on special teams. They do happen. I've seen them. They don't happen a ton anymore because the punts are so high and the kickoffs, so many of them go out of the end zone, but they do happen occasionally. I would think that if they're good, and also avoiding penalties.
I mean,
because those kill drives. Yeah. To start a drive inside your 10, like what happened every kickoff return Willie's first year. Those are drive killers, man. They're killed before they even start. So just getting rid of that stuff, I think you're adding maybe a field goal a game. That's the hope. And that gets you to what, Aslan, like 30 a game, 30 points per game? Probably shoots you up 20 spots in the national rankings.
Oh, man. I'm on Seminoles.com, and I'm on their stat page. And, yeah, I think the numbers I gave you are accurate. I didn't do any math in my head. I read what was on the screen. But I went and looked at their individual stats, special teams returns, and it shows that Corey Wren had a long return of 71 yards. The Ja'Shawn Corbin had a long return of 50 yards. Ja'Kai Douglas 40, and then Travis J had 4 for 104 yards, but his longest return was 104 yards, which that makes no sense.
Travis J didn't have a 104-yard kick return last year?
Nobody did. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't remember. Did Corey Wren have a 71-yard? I don't even remember a 71-yard. They said he had 5 for 108.
He had 5 returns for 108 yards, and one of them was 71 yards?
That's what it says. If my
so
phone
the other
was
4
working,
went for
I would
37?
take a photo and send it to you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I don't remember any of that. Maybe Corey Wren did. I'm sure maybe people are yelling at us right now saying, how can you not remember
the UMass
the great
game.
Corey Wren run? And I wonder if you took UMass out of the equation, what any of those numbers were. Because I feel like, what did Pokey average last year, punt return-wise?
Pokey, punt return, 7 for 28 yards. It says he had a long of 25.
So the other 6 went for 3 yards.
And do this math. Keyshawn Helton, 8 returns, 32 yards, a long of 34.
Yeah. That can't be real. What are we doing? Let's get it together over there. Those stats aren't right. Sorry, everyone. Either way, I don't think you need the stats to tell you that they were horrible almost in all phases of special teams last year. If they can just get, and they really do practice it a lot. If they could just get to be good, that will swing, that should swing them, I'm going to say 3 points a game.
Baldwin Knoll, wake up! This is my first ever post. Super excited to finally be part of the Warchant community.
Welcome. Good to have you, Baldwin Knoll.
Yeah, man, welcome. Even though you didn't follow the rules, we're still going to read it.
Jeez.
So I'm going to get straight to it.
Not a great start, Baldwin Knoll.
So I'm going to get straight to the point. Do you guys believe that Jordan Travis will make or break Coach Mike Norvell's career at Florida State University? I think if Jordan can take a step in consistency in throwing the ball, he should be good enough to get us to 8 wins and help hold the fort until we can get an elite quarterback. But if Travis flames out, do you think it could cost Norvell his job since he didn't push for a transfer this past cycle? But go Noles, and hopefully I'll see you guys in New Orleans. We'll be there, and we'll be visible. We will be advertising where our location's at constantly, so it'll be your fault if you don't see us in New Orleans, everybody. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, he's tied to him. He's tied to him. They're tied hip to hip at this point.
I don't think I get what you're saying, Baldwin. No, like if he only wins 6 games this year, and it's because the quarterback play is not great out of Jordan, will they look around and if Spencer Rattler in South Carolina win 9 or 10 games and Shane Beamer's second year, and Lincoln Riley's got Southern Cal in the conversation for a playoff spot, which again that's a little bit different. He had a pre-existing relationship. But I don't think that will be factored into like Mike Alford's calculus of all right, well, he's not evaluating quarterbacks well. Let's cut bait right now. I don't think anything less, only catastrophe would cost Mike Norvell his job this year through Jordan Travis's performance, like a 3-9 season, like Corey said, which I just can't even
right. But I guess
happening.
the counter to that is what do the next 2 years, if they're just average, do for him? Like, do 2 years of average equate 1 year of a catastrophe? Maybe.
No.
If you're not showing any ability to bring in elite quarterbacks, and Jordan Travis just either, just struggles, doesn't get better, gets hurt, and then Tate Rodemaker doesn't take the step that he looks like he's taken, but we'll see. He's got to stack all this together, and you're left with a backup quarterback that just can't get it done, and your offense is not good again. I mean, they are tied together. He is kind of. And look, man, I've said it multiple times. The last 2 years, they would have won 1 game if Jordan Travis wasn't quarterbacking. Literally, I think 1 game. And nobody else has won a game at Florida State the last 3 years other than Jordan Travis. So, the last 2 years, sorry. And plenty of other guys have started. Only one has won games. So, in that regard, Jordan might have already saved his job. So, but as you move forward, if the best you can do is 6 or 7 wins, and you do that for the next 2 years, and you're still hovering around 500 4 years in at Florida State, and mainly because your offense hasn't taken a step, and that maybe is because your quarterback isn't good enough, you've got some answering to do, and maybe there's no good answer to give, and you're not in the job anymore.
I largely say it just because of the Langston corollary, where he thinks that no matter what happens this year, it's Jordan's last year. Either he'll do great and go to the league, or it doesn't go as great as he wants, and Norvell's hand is kind of forced to go find somebody.
Right, but what about if it goes just like it did last year?
You're 7-5, and you're
not only that, but Jordan plays 8.5 games, and when he plays the 8.5 games, they go 5-3, or 6-2.
No,
but the other games they don't win.
No, because that would be 3 years of durability concerns.
So, but then
that's a pivotal 2023 if you're Mike Norvell and you can't rely.
But
on it.
So what does that mean though? You're gonna say Jordan, you can't come back? We're gonna ride with Rodemaker and Duffy?
Well, no.
When Jordan is healthy, he's better than those guys, or gives you a better chance to win. So that's going to be another interesting scenario if that happens. Like, you can't just tell a kid, "Sorry, man, you just can't stay healthy. You're not a quarterback anymore." What would you do though,
Corey? Like, would you?
I don't know.
Would you count on a guy?
Question.
Would you count on a guy the third time around to finally be able to figure it out, or would you go to your people and be like, "Hey, man, we got to go to the transfer market. We have to have a very good offer." Yeah, I mean,
that's the good news is the portal is out there, so you're not necessarily if you don't believe that Rodemaker and Duffy are the guys, and they certainly seem to believe in both. But if they don't, you do have options out there, but you can't. It just would be an odd situation if Jordan Travis wanted to come back. And you're like, no, man, we can't not know you're going to be there for us. Even though you've done all right, you win the majority of the games you play the last 2 years, but you don't play enough. So we got to go to the portal, man. Sorry, it's why Norvell gets paid the big bucks, man.
Might be cheaper to get a wide receiver or two if you think Tate Rodemaker's doing all right, because I think we believe in the offensive line. If you have good running backs and you have a good offensive line, you go get a receiver or two to maybe make Tate Rodemaker's skill set a little bit more, palatable, make it mesh a little bit
better.
Make
it flourish more, too.
Yeah. That probably saves you money than having to try go get, insert quarterback X from wherever.
JT Daniels. Apparently, he'll be able to transfer again next year, so go get him.
Where is he?
I think he's at
West Virginia?
West Virginia, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, funny how the mind works. I really did not know. It almost sounded like I set myself up for that. But yeah, he's at West Virginia. Look at that. Look at that. All right, here we go. Island Chief, wake up. Dollar bill, y'all. Question. True, yeah. But he's been around from the old network. He was paying more than that. But hopefully you're all taking advantage of it. Again, it's $1. Just try it out. Just come behind the curtain, see what it's like. You can hang out for an entire year for $1. Question about depth.
Yeah, and if you like me on the show, you'll love me when I write.
Oh, it's amazing.
Right, Aslan?
Yeah.
Right?
This is all
It's a whole
off the
different
dome.
ballgame.
He writes really quickly, but there's a little more. He's got a little more time to let things marinate and ruminate. In that
I feel like I'm a little more articulate as a writer than I am as a podcaster.
Island Chief's got a question about depth, Corey, in comparative terms, so that I can relate to this. And I saw this question earlier. I pre-read this one. How many second-teamers this year would have been starters in 2020? How many starters last year would be second-teamers this year? As always, you guys are the best. I look forward to the new host site I have just begun to explore.
What was the second part?
How many guys that started last year would not start this year?
Well, we'll see the answer to that.
Yeah.
Because some of them won't.
Well, technically, I mean, golly, if we look at that first game against Notre Dame, I mean, I'll pull up the PFF on that, but there's probably at least 2 guys in the secondary that started last year that are not going to start, this season. So, but I like the first part of the question about, how many second teamers would start in 2020. Oh man, that's that's a good one. I don't know, at least. I mean, I'd have to have both rosters in front of my face to be able to really accurately throw it out there. But
I would guess it's 4? A really good question. It's a really good way to kind of frame the improvement that's been made.
Contextualize it, Corey.
Yeah, I would say, man, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking like 17 or 18. Like I'm trying to think of the guys on the 2020 team that would still start. Asante Samuel.
Yes.
I guess Jordan kind of counts. I don't know. I don't know what we do with him because he is the starter again.
Jay-Sean?
No, Jay-Sean wasn't here in 2020. It was Webb and Toafili, right?
No, pretty sure he was here in 2020.
Corbin was?
Yeah. I'm going to pull
I
up
don't
the
think so.
2020
Well, because
stats.
Webb was one of their main backs. It was Webb and Toafili. Maybe he was. Yeah, he was. But he didn't play a lot to start out or something, right? Remember how that worked? Yeah, because he had a nice game against NC State. He started to look like a good running back near the end of the season.
Yes, correct.
That's right. My bad. Hey, sorry everyone.
Sorry
everyone.
You're fine.
Yeah, I can't do the math in my head, but I would think almost all of the offensive linemen, except for Devontae Love-Taylor. Devontae Love-Taylor would start. Asante Samuel, I think, would start over Florida State's second teamers right now. I don't count Marvin.
Yeah.
Because he just was hurt so much. Durden would.
I'm trying to get here. All right, Georgia Tech game. Here we go. I got it in front of me here. So Robert Cooper, and then this is in alphabetical order because that's the way it's sorted. James Blackman starts. Robert Cooper started. Corbin started. Kalen DeLoach started. Renardo Green started. Bavion started. He would not start.
Right.
Jarian Jones started.
Renardo Green started at safety, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he would not start.
Jarian started. Kane Doe started.
Nope, and maybe.
Yeah. Lars Woodby started. No, DeLoach.
He's done all right at Boston College, though, man. That's why
he played
I wonder.
linebacker here, though, right?
Yeah. He definitely would not start. No.
Love Taylor, Dante Lucas.
Nope.
No. Cam McDonald.
Well, I guess he's still here.
E. Ricer. Nope.
No.
Was Jamie here? Jamie wasn't here in 2020, was he?
No.
Then who's Jay Robinson?
Janaris.
Janaris.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Janaris. No.
No. Okay. Maurice Smith.
I mean, I think one of those guys would probably start. I just don't know which one. So maybe Robinson starts instead of Kane Doe, but I think Burst is starting either way.
Maurice Smith.
Back up. But these are second teamers. Yeah. Both those defensive ends would start.
Maurice Smith, Tamorian Terry, Warren Thompson.
Tamorian Terry would.
Warren Thompson would not. Leonard
Yeah,
Warner would
so-
not. Darius Washington probably not. And
No.
LaDamian Webb probably could. And then Marvin Wilson. So
Yeah, a healthy Marvin Wilson, obviously.
So was that like 4 guys we said?
I think it's probably closer to 6.
Okay.
I think Terry obviously would start if he's healthy. So yeah, probably 6.
That would have
6
been
or 7.
a really good question if I actually would have done the research before reading it.
Yeah, you blew
and
it.
been able to lay it
You
out.
blew it.
I did blow it. But yes, Island Chief, it's good to think about. And it does come a lot down to the offensive line linebackers. I mean, 'cause
Yeah,
you said
and I had a message. I saw a message staying on this subject. Somebody started a thread about Mike Norvell and is he really going to do the unthinkable? And the first about just turning the program around. It sounds like everything's going well. And there were 5 posts in a row that were like, I'm not believing the hype. We do this every year. We get these great reports out of practice. We believe the hype, and then they're worse than they were the year before. And so I went in there and I'm like, I don't quite understand what hype you guys are talking about. When you listen to Aslan and I,
we thought they were going to be better. We're like, man, just by virtue of Willie Taggart being gone and these guys being here, and we get it that they weren't around each other because of COVID, but just by virtue of that, this guy's offensive pedigree, they're going to be better. They were not.
Did we watch practice? Did we watch practice?
No, but we talked about them very positively that they're going to be better.
These are practice reports.
But we did last year too, man.
And they were better last year than the year before.
Okay.
Nobody that we talk, nobody on this show and nobody on that site that writes for a living that gets paid to do it thought that last year's team was going to. I mean, we thought 6 or 7 wins. That's what we kept saying. Guess what?
Yeah,
they were a 6 or a 7 win team.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't understand what people want from practice reports. And that's what I said. Is it's all in comparison to what it used to be. When we have these glowing practice reports, quote unquote, or we're trying to hype up this team, it's in relation to what it's been. The 2021 team, we watched it. They were better. We knew it still had plenty of holes, but we knew they were better than the year before. And that was without the quarterback debacle. And if they'd have done the quarterback differently, they would have gotten 7 wins, probably 6 or 7 wins. But still, it was a better football team. It had a horrible start. The defense was a train wreck. But once they figured that out, there's no argument that last year's team was better. And I don't think you think, after watching this team in the spring and then watching it for a week here with the new additions and the older guys being more comfortable and better, in the depth that's there, we both think this team will be better than last year's team, right?
And yeah, if they win 7 games, we're right. If they win 6 games, we're right. So yeah,
right. Well, but yeah, it's not a high bar to clear. But don't you think when you look at this team?
Yeah, we can't say hype because, again, we're thinking 8 wins, maybe 9 if you want to dream a dream. Like, if we're talking 10 wins and they go out and they win 6 or 7 games, that's hyping a team up. Yeah,
we're not hyping this team. Yeah. You can write positive things about a player or a team and the steps they've made, and it doesn't mean we're saying they're going to the Orange Bowl. Yeah. We're just saying they're better than what they are. And through this first week, Aslan and I, everybody, we're lucky enough to get to watch practice. To me, it is undeniable that this program is in better shape and this roster is better overall. It's worlds better than it was 2 years ago, but it's better overall at almost every position but one than it was last year. That's all. Yeah. That's all. It is. It's just better. The receivers still aren't very good enough. The offensive line still has a lot to prove. Don't know what the defensive ends are. There's still holes to fill. But by and large, it's and I think that question is what led me to think of it. That question, the fact that so many of the starters on 2020 couldn't even beat out the backups on 2022 tells you how much better it's gotten. But we're not sitting here pretending we're covering a championship football team. And I said as much in the thread. I'm like, man, I think if they have injury luck, if they have good injury luck and good turnover luck, 8 wins is a possibility. I think 7 is more likely. Okay. 8 maybe. I don't think 9 is all that likable. That's all. Or all that probable, sorry. But yeah, they're a better football team than they were last year. That doesn't mean we're hyping them up to be the 2013 team.
All right. Let's try to maybe keep a couple of these lean. Let's try to get 2 more in here.
All right, gotcha.
We've gone over an hour. You've been doing great, Corey. You've been doing great. Keep it up.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
XDQ004, it's Derek. Good morning, Jensen. Wake up. Congrats on the new platform. It already feels like home. Can't wait for some of the new programming that will be part of this change. The in-game commentary was something I was hoping would be an offering for the season, and it appears to be coming to fruition. Can't wait. Yeah, man, that's right. D-Rob, game days.
Mm-hmm.
Question. I would put the odds of us getting off to a 5-0 start at about 40%.
Oh, see, now this is the hype we're talking about, folks. This is the hype we're talking about. What a great timing for this question.
In your opinion, give me 2 things that would have to go right in order for that to happen. Support the great sponsors and go Noles. I like that. Okay, 2 things.
5-0. So
something about like LSU, like Butte still not being ready, or maybe their quarterback situation still being unresolved.
Well, let's make it more of a Florida State-centric answer.
All right.
What do you have to see? What would have to happen that maybe we don't expect to, like, Travis grows as a passer.
Yeah.
How about this? Travis averages 250 yards a game passing.
Okay, that's
I
one.
think that's a good gauge.
That's a good one.
Because they're going to run the ball. So if you can get at least a minimum 250 passing, then you got some balance and you're making plays downfield. So that's one. Now you do one.
Hold opposing offenses to under 260 yards throwing.
Okay. How about under 250? Let's just make it 250 on both.
Okay. I was trying to scramble and get over to see if I could find the stats of football, just to see what the top rated passing defenses were last year to kind of put us in that in that ballpark. But
I bet Georgia was pretty high.
Yeah, that's probably good, but I just wonder how good. I mean, it's crazy going back and looking at the 13 team and just where they were at total defense, and it's that's amazing.
Yeah. And they also scored 94 touchdowns.
Let's see here, passing
94
yards.
Somebody's Norvell's team scored the last 2 years combined.
All right, let's see here. Oh wow, the number one passing defense in the of last year was
Wisconsin?
the Huskies. Washington. They only allowed 143 yards per game.
Where would 250 get you? If you average 250 a game, where does that put you in the country?
Oh, well, shoot. Alabama was 50th, and they allowed 218 yards, so I'm going to have to adjust that number.
Oh, let's adjust it to 220 then, maybe.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Good. I like that. Yeah, 220 would put you at 54th in the nation. 55th in the nation.
Oh, well, what was Florida State last year?
74th. They allowed 233.
Oh, well, so yeah, we definitely should have undershot it a little bit. So, yeah, if they get, 15 yards better?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's got to be under 200.
Or how about
now that we're doing the math,
plus 5 in turnover margin.
That's a good one. Yeah, if you win the turnover yes, right. Yes, there you go. Plus 5 in 5 games is solid. I think they finished the year with a turnover in 8 straight games or something. Something like that. So they did a good job at the end of the year forcing turnovers, and not coincidentally, they won more than they lost to finish out the season. So that does have something to do with it. So we gave you 3 keys, I guess. But also, we don't think they're going to be 5-0. I would. What would you? So he says 40%. What would you say the chances of that are, Aslan?
17.5.
I was going to say 20. So I think we're right there. No. Actually, I was going to say 10. So you're a little more optimistic than me. I just think this team is still built to play a lot of close games. It is not overwhelming talent. It is better talent. But I still think LSU, Louisville, Wake. I think Wake's in that first 5.
Correct. Yeah, it's Duquesne, LSU, Louisville, Boston College, and Wake.
3 of those at least. Maybe Boston College too, man. Again, that you're not going to be favored by 40 points against that team.
And they had that quarterback. He came back. I think that was his first game back after a long layoff and an injury.
Yes.
So if he's healthy, that might be a little more of a game squad. But their offensive line.
I would say they're going to be in at least 3 games that are in the fourth quarter that come down to the final 5 or 6 minutes of the game. And when you're in those kind of close games and you don't have overwhelming talent, you want to win more than you lose, but it's not quite a coin toss. You control the outcome. It's not just pure luck, but you're going to lose games at the end. You're going to hopefully win more than you lose when you're that close in talent. The key is to getting much more talent so it doesn't come down to the fourth quarter as much.
But if you find yourself in those situations, which I believe I think Corey's accurate about, we're talking about these fourth quarter games, 1 possession, last 5 minutes of a ball game, and you end up winning all of them. You're 98 Tennessee, you're 2001 Ohio State, 2002 2001 Ohio State.
2002. Yeah,
2002.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about
doubling
national
down.
championship.
The question, Derek, should have been if they start off 5-0, what percent do you put of them winning the national title? If they're 5-0,
I would put that at 70. I'd put 75%.
Yeah, they're winning national
Because
title.
once you get on that run, you get a team of destiny, you get that magic juice.
Yeah.
Man, and it's not a foreign around here. We're used to it around here. Just hop on the train.
Gary Sinsimilia, which his avatar is of Gary Sismacia. Oh, I
Right.
get it, because his name was the Weed, and Sinsimilia is
Okay.
is
That's clever.
marijuana. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Wake up, gentlemen. First-time poster and new user. Stellar deal, BTW. That means, by the way, he must be young. Born and raised in Tallahassee, I attended Leon High School, Tallahassee Community College, and then graduated from Florida State University in 2017 with a sport management degree. Shout out. Awesome, man.
I'd like
Tallahassee.
him to answer what he does with that now. If you can respond to this, and if you ask another question next week, be sure to throw in there what you do with your sports. He said it's sports management, right?
Correct, yeah.
Because Brady's taking a class. Shout out to Brady. Had his first day of high school on Wednesday.
Whoop, whoop.
He's taking he's taking sports marketing. So never mind, not sports management. Anyway, go ahead.
Tallahassee is home to actor Cheryl Hines,
Yeah.
motocross stock car racer Ricky Carmichael, and Corey's favorite band, Creed.
And Tony Hale from Arrested Development and Veep. Emmy Award winner Tony Hale. Went to Leon, actually.
Look at that. With football being the topic du jour, I figured I'd throw you guys a change-up. Baseball question coming. If and when Dick Hauser is demolished for construction of the football-only facility, what kind of features would you like to see the new ballpark have? Any wonky field dimensions, brick wall in right field like Truist, cool new stadium locale, Creed for every walk-up song? Keep up the good work, guys.
I'd like a video board where you get to see like just a big picture of the kid's face that takes up the whole thing. You don't even put the score on there. Whoever's pitching, you just show his face. That takes up the whole thing. Imagine that, Aslan. That would be kind of intimidating.
No.
It'd be so bizarre, like as you're digging into the batter's box and off to the left of the pitcher, you just see his huge face. That would be odd. That would be something that nobody else is doing. But what they did this year with the video board is something that nobody else is doing. I like the bricks idea, except you just running college kids into bricks. I think that if they put it over on the intramural fields where they are now, and you could somehow incorporate right field is where College Town is, and there's that club up there that's got the pool.
Like you don't know the name of it.
I mean, come on, man. I don't want to give them free pub.
Okay.
They don't advertise with us. If they want to advertise with us, we'll do a post game shows from there. But they don't want to, so we're not gonna give them the free pub. But I think you got to incorporate that. You've got to have like a village behind the right field fence or the left field fence. I think that would be cool, man. I think that'd be something nobody else has.
Bring back the mound from Minute Maid Park in center field.
Yeah, the hill.
Yeah, the hill.
You remember? I think for the first couple of years, not only did they have a hill, but I think they had a flagpole out there.
I think they did too. Yeah, like in center field.
Yeah. So Andrew Jones on literally back-to-back pitches runs to 430 feet away. One of them he barely misses. The next one he catches as he's falling up the hill, 430 feet away over his shoulder, and almost runs into a flagpole. Trying to chase a flag. I mean, I love that stuff, man. I love just having weird stuff in the middle of it's like Rock and Jock back in the day on MTV. Just have weird obstacles out there.
Where's my boy Dan Cortez, man? Where's he at?
Yeah. How about maybe a spear? Maybe on top of the hill in center field, you have a spear that they have to avoid.
Okay, I like that.
And it's flaming, so there's real stakes. You're not going to You're not going to want to run into something that's flaming. That's a warning. I mean, you need a warning track for that for sure.
I really like what Mississippi State did, where they have it's not dorms, but they have condos in their outfield. But I would like to be like dorms. That'd be so cool to have. You know, if you're a student, you could just look out your window and boom, there's a game going on back there. I want to incorporate some of this old timey like that, like when it used to be about the students, the whole college sports thing. You know, when students used to actually matter. So. Right. That and then the foul pole. Let's have the foul poles be spears that are just like they're lit the whole time. But then when we hit a home run, like a little more juice, the propane the natural gas gets a little jacked up and it shoots off a little high.
Oh, there you go. Nice. That's not a bad idea.
So, all right. We'll do this one for the last one. Actually, we'll do two. The second one's pretty short, too. All right, here we go. Quinn67, wake up! He's got the same name, Sam Avatar. I love it. Consistency. I bet you guys feel good being in a new home. Fresh paint on the walls, that new house scent. Congratulations on the move. Thank you, S. Quinn.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We are Rock Preston days away from kickoff, and I can hardly wait. Expecting a solid year from the Noles. Couldn't help but smile when Dominic Robinson was talking about the Noles being the only thing that gets him fired up in sports. It's the same for me. My favorite NFL, Major League Baseball, etc. team loses, just move on. But the Noles, when they don't play well, it pains me. Hurts for days.
But how about the opposite of that, too? Like when they do play well, how that just kind of lifts you for the week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we always talk about how much a loss, when your favorite team loses, how painful it can be. But the exultation you get.
Imagine they start off 5-0, Corey. Imagine they start 5-0.
Right. Man, we will be. I mean, can you? I'm not gonna. I won't even know what to do with myself. I'm gonna be doing. We should just broadcast 24 hours a day. I'll sit here and talk. At 1 a.m. while I'm watching Netflix or something, man. I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I was covering a 5-0 football team. I can tell you this much: I won't take it for granted ever again. Not ever again will I take it for granted. I'm going to enjoy it if it actually happens.
Question for this week. What was the best Florida State football season opener you've ever been to? Which is the best of all time? See you all in New Orleans. Go Noles, Quinn67, class of 93. Oh, man, best first game I'd ever been to. And it's not saying like home opener, just the first game of the season, no matter where they're at. And what was that you've been to and the best one of all time? Oh man, I'm have to lean on you with this one, Corey.
To me, I think my answer is Pitt for both.
Okay, what was that? What year was that?
13?
Oh, 2013. That 2013.
Jameis.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Come on, get your mind right. That I've been to, because I didn't go to a ton of openers back when I was a kid as a fan. So I didn't really start going to openers really until 15 years ago when I started covering the team. So, and there haven't been a lot of doozies that are memorable. Like they either lost mostly or they played like Samford or Charleston Southern or something. Like there weren't a lot of really memorable ones. The Ole Miss one was pretty memorable. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's I think as a fan, probably that one. And then my first ever game on the beat as an intern was a 2005 Miami game, which was an ugly, horrendous game, but we finally beat Miami, so that was pretty cool.
But yeah, that's not as good. Oh, you didn't go to 13. If you'd have gone to 13, though, obviously that would have been the one.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the all-timer. I think that's the all-timer for the history of the program.
No, it was Pitt, like amazing performance.
But it was it was what the quarterback did. I know it wasn't like a huge, but it was what it meant for the rest of the season. And I'm not even talking about in hindsight. Like at halftime of that game, you literally went from, man, is this team going to be good enough to get back to an Orange Bowl, to I think this team might be one of the best teams in the country, and they have a legitimate shot at a national championship.
Oh, I was so nervous. Now I was nervous. It wasn't until Clemson where I really believed.
I remember doing headlines. That week, on that Tuesday, maybe we did them Wednesday back then, after that game, and Jeff and I both talking about, hey, we know he's going to make mistakes, but believe that, because Florida State fans after that game were a little bit hesitant, like you kind of, and maybe me to a certain extent. I'm usually the very pessimistic one. Like, okay, that could have been a fluke. He can't be that good. And I remember Jeff and I both saying, like, or he might be. Like, go ahead and embrace that he might be awesome. Like, that is not normal for what he did on his first start. And I think it was just that. Like, it was the 2012 team was a good team. It wasn't an exceptionally fun offensive team to watch. Then Jameis comes along, and they go up and down the field like it's Chris Winkie again against the bad ACC teams of the late 90s. Like, it was nuts. It was just something we hadn't seen in so long. And even at that time, what I thought it portended to later on is why I thought it would, not just because it was a win over an unranked Pitt team, but just because of what it meant with how the quarterback played.
Okay. I can't give you a definitive answer, the best of all time. But for me, I guess I would say, the Ole Miss game was fun because I was drunk and I really could embrace it. The 2005 Miami game, I was so nervous. Like I was a kid working the beat, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know what's going on. And I was in the press box, and it's so quiet in there and sanitized. And
Right.
So I'll go with the Ole Miss game. I'll have recency bias on that one. So, yeah, I do remember, though, watching the Jameis game at a Hooters in Jackson, Mississippi. And my buddy who went to Texas was like, all right, well, you guys got a quarterback. I'm like, chill out. He's like, no, dude. He's like, you have a quarterback.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's what, because I'm usually that guy. Yeah. I'm usually that guy who's like, we'll see. But I remember seeing, I can't remember who I saw on the field after the game. It was somebody in Florida State administration. And I just remember saying, holy shit. Sorry, you're going to have to bleep that. But I did. That's how stunned I was by what we had just seen. That it wasn't just that he had the numbers he had. It was the way he looked in the pocket. The plays he made on, it looks like he's going to run, and then he whips it to Kenny Shaw for 20 yards.
Everything he did.
It just looked so different than anything we had seen. And, anyway.
All right, last one. 89 Noel. Wake up, boys. First timer. Thanks to the promo. Again, everybody, take advantage. It's only $1. For real. There's nothing. We're not putting a whole. It's $1 for a whole year. Year.
Yep. And just go to warchant.com. You'll see the link to sign up for it.
Yeah. I'm from DeBerry, Florida. Absolutely no one is famous.
Man, well, change it. Come on, man. Change that. Change that narrative about DeBerry.
Hopefully it'll be his 10-year-old daughter that he's asking us a question about.
Oh, okay, good.
I will be heading north to Tallahassee for the Week 1 matchup to bring my 10-year-old daughter to her first game. I was wondering what you guys would guess for an attendance number. I understand a lesser opponent, but was hoping for some week 1 excitement, rather, to help fill some seats. What do you guys think?
I mean, I would guess, what would you say, Aslan, 50?
Yeah, they'll announce 63 or something, but I'll probably be 58.
I just don't know because so many people, I think it's 30,000, right, are going to, didn't Florida State sell out 30,000 to LSU?
Yeah.
To New Orleans? So that's 30,000 people that are traveling the next weekend to go out of state to watch this football team. I don't know what percentage of that 30,000 is also going to go to the Duquesne game. I would think 10 maybe.
But it is week 0. There's nothing else going on. So
no, that's true. It's just, if you're from out of town and you're already spending money to go to New Orleans for probably 3 nights.
Stay all week, camp out in Tallahassee, and then make the drive over to New Orleans. If you're
I'm just
Miami,
saying you're gonna have to offer your house for people because it's not cheap to stay in Tallahassee at hotels.
Well, I think
that was the point I was making. So maybe you don't feel like going to Duquesne because of that purpose. I don't know. Right. But I would guess 50 would be better than a spring game, in between a spring game and Notre Dame last year. That's right in that middle spot there.
Okay, well said. All right, so that was the 17th reply to the thread. We still have 20 others. We'll try to do that and mix in some observations. And we were going to have Ira on, but I don't think we're going to. We'll let Ira have a breather. But we'll have Ira.
We'll do that tomorrow. I thought we were going to do that tomorrow for Friday's show.
Yeah, but we've got practice observations and 20 more questions to get to. We wouldn't do.
Let's maybe some of the questions are redundant, so let's just pick the best ones.
Yeah, but this is their first time ever posting on Warchant.
You're right, buddy. You're right. This could just be the whole show.
Yeah.
For the every week we could just take questions. I mean, I don't mind that. It's instead of you having to drive it and come up with stuff to talk about, we could just let the posters do it. Yeah.
All right. So thanks everybody for being involved. If this is your first time, that's awesome. Welcome. The folks that joined us and followed us over here, awesome. Glad we'll get to your questions. There's a lot more of you in line as well. So we'll get to all of them tomorrow with practice observations for sure at the top of the show so you guys know what's going on at practice. Warchant.com. Stay connected. We will be at practice, updates, practice video, interviews afterwards. I'm guessing an observations thread, maybe a stand-up, maybe not a stand-up. It'll probably not be a stand-up, but who knows. But check it out. YouTube channel as well. Thumbs up, subscribe to that. Subscribe to warchant.com. Again, $1 launch special. We don't know how long it's going to last, so get on it now. It's the best dollar you'll spend all year. Absolutely. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.